If it holds, it could pave the way to peace. Israel's Prime Minister Ehud Olmert says it may lead to what he called real negotiations and a full settlement between the Palestinians and Israel.
Yes, at 6 a.m. local time, a ceasefire came into effect, ending 5 months of bloodshed in Gaza. Israel agreed to withdraw its troops after it was given assurances that Palestinian factions would stop firing rockets into its territory.
But just hours after the announcement was made, 5 more rockets landed in Israel. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said they carried out the attacks.
In a moment, we will be exploring what all of that means for both sides. But first, this report from our Gaza correspondent, Noor Odeh.
Israeli troops withdraw from Beit Hanun in the morning. This could be the early sign of implementing a ceasefire announced in the late hours of the night, endorsed by the Palestinian president and the Hamas-led government, and accepted by Israel. The Palestinian street, especially in the Gaza Strip, which has paid a heavy price for repeated Israeli attacks, is watching closely how this agreement unfolds on the ground. Optimistic yet cautious, Palestinians hope that, unlike others before it, this agreement would hold.
We heard that so many times about quiet, and nobody comments about that.
We're less than 24 hours into the agreement, and already some groups have fired rockets into Israel. The question is why? Why this breach when all were in agreement when the ceasefire was announced? Interpretation is the key. Islamic Jihad, for example, has justified its firing of the rockets by saying that the ceasefire should be simultaneous and should include the West Bank, the other part of the occupied Palestinian territory.
The agreement for calm permits us and the rest of the resistant factions to respond to any Israeli infraction. Palestine cannot be divided. It is one geographical entity.
These infractions put the Palestinian leadership in a tough position, yet Palestinian officials appear determined to protect the ceasefire and hopeful that it could lead to more positive political developments.
So I think this is not a game, it's not a joke, it is serious, and we will continue following up the disagreements to be, as I said, to be protected and also to work and to continue.
Where others had faltered, this ceasefire seemed to have all guarantees, an agreement signed and sealed by all involved. The coming hours, though, will decide whether this ceasefire could withstand conflicting interpretations and differing agendas. In the end, it is regular Palestinians and their ordinary lives that will pay the price for this agreement, implemented or not. Noor Odeh, Al Jazeera, Gaza.
We're now joined by Nabil Abu Rudayneh, spokesman for the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, who's in Gaza, and Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesman Yigal Palmor in Jerusalem. Let's speak to you first, Nabil Abu Rudayneh. First of all, how did this agreement come about?
Well, this agreement is an important agreement to start with, because the Palestinian factions, all the Palestinian factions, committed themselves in front of the President and the Prime Minister as well, that they will stand for this ceasefire. This ceasefire is a good chance for us and for the Israelis as well, and we hope that a comprehensive and reciprocal ceasefire will take place very soon in order to safeguard this agreement which we reached yesterday.
But just a few hours into that ceasefire, we saw 5 more rockets fired into Israel. Yigal Palmor, are we starting to see the unraveling of the Gaza agreement before it's even begun?
Well, we hope not.
These troubles, it's...
Yes, Yigal Palmor, if you could just answer that.
Yes. Well, we hope the ceasefire will hold because it's in everybody's interest. This is not just a one-sided Israeli interest. Palestinians can benefit a lot from the ceasefire, so we hope the Palestinian Authority will do its utmost to impose the ceasefire according to the agreement that was reached this morning. We will give the ceasefire a chance, of course, but we hope it will hold.
And Nabil Abu Rudayneh, this latest rocket fire is a violation of the ceasefire agreement. What are you going to do about it?
Definitely this violation is not accepted at all, and we confirmed and we are still committed to this agreement, and we hope that everybody would understand it's for the benefit of everybody. The Palestinians and the Israelis should take this chance as an important chance for peace and stability, and as I told you, these things could happen and these minor things will be stopped, and we hope that we would be able to succeed in the coming days.
Mr. Palmore, a chance for peace and stability, but how much will Israel tolerate before it sends its troops back into Gaza?
This is a real chance because if there are no more rockets fired into Israel, then the Israeli army has nothing to do in Gaza. It will pull out immediately. It will not go back. We did not pull out from Gaza more than a year ago in order to be involved in more raids and in more actions inside the territory. So this will be Gaza's real chance to work on its prosperity and for the Palestinian Authority to show that it's going to work seriously on the political negotiation for, in order to reach a political solution to the problems that we have to face together.
Mr. Rudaina, President Mahmoud Abbas said that he'd come to an agreement with all the Palestinian factions. Now, clearly, Islamic Jihad and the armed wing of Hamas aren't listening to you.
This agreement had been reached between President Abbas and the Prime Minister and all the main factions. And as I told you previously, this is a good starting point and it will succeed. Hopefully that the Israeli side will understand that this chance should be given enough time. We cannot stop everything in one single minute. We are committed and the Palestinian factions are all committed, and we hope that we would be able to control things for the future of a comprehensive truce and ceasefire, not just in Gaza but in the West Bank as well. And as we mentioned before, this is a good chance for peace and stability, and we are working hard, we are committed, and we heard positive remarks from Prime Minister Olmert yesterday when President Abbas talked to him, committing themselves for a ceasefire for the benefit of the two peoples.
Mr. Palmore, do you think this could lead to a wider peace settlement if those rocket attacks can finally come to an end?
Yeah, definitely, yes. This is the prerequisite for anything to go forward and advance on the political level, and we've said so on many occasions. Of course, now we need to see a prompt solution to the question, to the issue of the abducted soldier, should be released as soon as possible. And then, of course, we can work on further settlements and further agreements to anchor this renewed calm in more political agreements and enable us to work on the real political issues. But this is the basis. If it holds, then this ceasefire is the basis on which we can build a further political agreement, definitely.
And if we could just have one final word from you both on the issue of the captured Israeli soldier, Corporal Gilad Shalit. Now, the Israelis clearly haven't met their objectives in Gaza. How can we move forward with a peace settlement when that issue remains unresolved? Mr. Palmore, if you could go first.
Well, all I can say at this moment is that the soldier is still withheld in Gaza, and that negotiations are apparently going on between the Egyptian mediators and the Hamas, who is holding him. And we hope that this problem will be solved as soon as possible. It needs to be solved. Shouldn't have arisen in the first place. It is blocking everything, and unless the soldier is released alive and well, then this ceasefire will not have served any political purpose. He needs to be released in order for this ceasefire to create the groundworks for a broader political agreement.
Mr. Rudaina, your response to that, does President Mahmoud Abbas have the power, have the influence to get Corporal Gilad Shalit released?
Well, I have to say something, that the Egyptians are doing all their best to find a solution.